Good afternoon. I'm just going to try to get this up on YouTube so I can follow your messages. So excuse me for a sec. Hope you're all well, and I hope you cashed out of your Arsenal. I went +1, thankfully, and got out immediately at the 1-1. When you've just scored 4 goals away from home against a very, very solid Brighton side, take the hint. So those of you who laid the late draw, I'll give yourselves a huge pat on the back. So hopefully I can get the YouTube up on my tablet so I can follow your comments because they were so good last week. So please excuse me. I'm having trouble finding the video on the YouTube channel on well, it says you're offline, but I'm not offline. So telling porkies. We've got the German Bundesliga beginning. I don't want a 2025 live. I can't see my live stream, which is a pain. Please let me figure this out, otherwise I won't be able to see or hear you as you interact. I don't understand why it's not delivering. I'll just double check the Wi-Fi. Yeah, it's all connected. This will make sure that I can see and hear you okay. So this, I'll get here at least, and then I'll try to get to work on my tablet. So we go off to videos. I don't see this layout on my tablet, you see, that's the problem. And then I don't see the live on my tablet. When I do see the live, it doesn't show this. So that is a slight problem. But if I can get that link on my tablet, life will be good. So welcome Paul and Michael and Stephen. Nice to see you all. Stephen, of course, is on new manager duty, no doubt, today. Did an excellent job last week, Stephen. Thank you so much for all of your input there. So I'm going to, what am I going to do? Let's go to the Football Trading Profits website. And this is just for me. I'm going to get in one of these, put the link in so I can actually click on the link itself, because I clicked on the video and it didn't take me anywhere. So let me try this. I'm sorry for all of this fiddling about, but I do want to follow your messages because they were so useful last week. So just going to plonk it up here and then save. So when I go over to the website, I will be able to see that link, give it a tick, and hopefully bring up the YouTube live. I'm going to have to figure this out in the future. It should be easier than this. So back I go. This way I can get to your comments right in front of my eyes and immediately respond to them. So there it is. Got the YouTube link now. Copy it and open in YouTube. Yes, excellent. Good. Now got the live chat coming up. So I've got Stephen, Michael and Paul on the live chat there. Excellent stuff. Augsburg have taken the lead against Bayer Leverkusen, and really and truly, Augsburg shouldn't land a blow against Bayer Leverkusen today. But I'll keep the football research up. We'll keep an eye on that one. It's your usual goal before half time. And yeah, the Villains. Oh, Dave, pat on the back for that. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. Buendia is on your Christmas card list. That is for sure. Make sure you spell his surname right. Fantastic stuff from Dave Persick. You can actually retire now, Dave. I don't think I can top that today. Superb result. And that's something you're quite within your rights to do, given the fact that Aston Villa 4-goal heroes against Bournemouth. And we know all about the Arsenal and their forward line. So well within your rights to lay late. Cost you nothing, did it, Dave? And you can win very, very nicely indeed. So these are the matches on at the moment. Estac Trois coming from behind against Rodez. I've got not got an interest in it, but just keeping an eye on it. They are top of the league. And you can see they're just slowly chipping away at Rodez. Alvaron, 5 shots on target, 10 shots off, 1.67 expected goals, knocking on the door of that second goal. Now do what Dave did, and if you lay as low as Dave did, it's not going to cost you a penny, and you could win big. So look out for that possible late win for Estac Trois on a run of 3 consecutive wins away from home, no less. But 2 of them in the cup don't count for anything, let's be honest. 2-3 against Saint-Etienne, newly relegated from French League 1, Saint-Etienne. So that in itself was a good result as well for Estac Trois. They were competitive at least. Hi, Stuart Hutchins. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming along. Rodez. Well, both teams have scored in 3 of the last 4. Their only 3-goal haul was in the cup against Lavore, who are likely to be very, very low tier. So have an eye on this one. You might want to have a tickle now if you fancied it. They look like they are top of the league, don't they? Performing very well stats-wise. Don't forget to just check the timings of the stats as well. You don't want to be misled by the majority of stats coming in the first half, which indeed the shots on target have come. Majority in the first half, as you'll see there. Last 20 minutes, only the 1 shot on target. So this is a clear one for a potential late play like Dave has just done. Hi, Eba Butia. My apologies for butchering your name. Very welcome. Estac Trois. So we've got Andorra against Almeria. I showed you earlier on with Leicester City. We did get that single goal from Derby. But alas, no more. But laying at 105, we've had some great fun with that this week, taking on 3-0 leads. And you're looking at these 2.7, the favourites, early leads. Pogon already leading and odds on favourites pre-match, 1.95. Unlikely they're going to be troubled. Victoria Poulsen, odds on favourites are a goal down in the Czech 1 League. I need a compelling reason to get involved here, because it's not the greatest league on the planet, and like the Championship, it can be a little bit unreliable. But the odds-ons are there. So we want to see what kind of a mood Poulsen are in. Andorra against Almeria, 2.25 away favourite, 81st minute. That's likely to be done and dusted. We can say goodbye to that. Dinamo Zagreb, just 1.75 favs today. Normally a derby-style match this with Hajduk Split. Dinamo Zagreb had quite unbelievable, it's an 8-9 year unbeaten home run in the Croatian HNL 1 League, ended by this lot. You used to be able to make a fortune on Dinamo Zagreb at home, but since they've been a little wobbly at home, and Hajduk Split ended that remarkable run. Dukla Prague, all I want for Christmas is a Dukla Prague away kit for you half-man, half-biscuit fans. 1.7 away favourite Slovan Liberec. Again, we don't have to fixate too much on that. Maritimo have already taken advantage of the red card against Torinza. The red card coming in the 20th minute. The goal coming in the 28th minute. So done and dusted there. FC Köln against St. Pauli, who just keep losing. woeful stuff. And that's the goal for Dukla Prague there against Slovan Liberec. So we've got Wolfsburg have scored first against Union Berlin. This is a Wolf not in the greatest of form of late. Bayern Munich, I think there's something involved there because it's been suspended. It's going to be a difficult one to pick out, this one. Stuttgart are in excellent home form, but Bayern Munich is scoring 2 goals for fun. So those are the watch list at the moment. Yeah. And there's a Bayern opening goal. So we'll keep an eye on this match because Stuttgart, as I say, have been in pretty decent nick at home. You look at that result with Dortmund. That was away at Dortmund. That was a 3-3. So they do have something in them, this Stuttgart side, having the best season for a very long time. And you've seen both teams have scored in the last 2 head-to-heads in 2025. So that might not be over. We'll keep an eye on that, but maybe the goal is disallowed. So let's just get ourselves ready. This is Football 24. You can make sure you pick your leagues so you don't get overwhelmed by a load of dings in leagues you don't want to play. The reason the English League One, English League Two is barren is because we've got the FA Cup today. So these are the 230s. We can get rid of, this is a good thing about this, we can get rid of some of these matches we're not really interested in, or matches that have pretty much been done and dusted. So we've got odds on favourites, a goal down here, but it's not the greatest league on the planet. Fiorentina have scored a goal, but they can't buy a win. Keep an eye on that second half. Desperate needs. Again, like Dave did, that's the kind of match you would lay the very, very late draw because of the need for a win for Fiorentina and the fact they have been priced to be competitive today. 2.63 the favourite is telling you the market expects Fiorentina to do something today, or to at least be more competitive than they usually have been. It's just a woeful season for the Viola. They shouldn't be down where they are. Let's just take a look through some of the others, get rid of some of these matches, and then we'll go and collect our odds on favourites in readiment for the 3 o'clock. Villarreal, brilliant. Another 2-goal haul, but helped by that red card for Getafe. One of the bankers of the day, the Yellow Submarine at home. Really solid stuff. Charlton and Plymouth Portsmouth, I think that's done and dusted, isn't it? So that's a little off kilter. Next, port of call, soccer24.com. Make sure, well, at least this is what I do. I collect odds on favourites here. Red Bull Salzburg just marginally odds on today. Lask Linz just a tad of odds against, but still stick them on the watch list. We don't need the Belarus Visha League. That was the only league which was playing football during COVID. They didn't fall for it. Cercle Brugge, odds on at home. Unison Gilwire, Champions League side, odds on. Club Brugge, not odds on today. We don't need to play the Challenge League because we've got elite leagues today. Similar story for Bulgarian League. We don't need to be playing that either. Rijeka, very strong against Vukovar, who are newly promoted in the Croatian HNL 1 League. So there is possibilities there today. As you can see, Slovan Liberec odds on. This is why we collect our odds on, so we can have an investigation. 1.4 is quite warm order for Paulsen. What we can do, like I did with Watford and Norwich, is go to Soccer Stats and just investigate this one if I wanted to. Sparta Prague odds on. Great result for Aston Villa earlier on. That's really going to boost their European hopes this season. Look at the Premier League. Manchester City, deserving favourites, scoring 2+ goals, 5 consecutive home wins. Sunderland, real struggle scoring that second goal. They did against Chelsea, but that was a 90th minute winner. Newcastle United are scoring 2+ goals in each of the last 4 matches. 3 of them wins and the other one a 2-2. Burnley, you saw last week when I called that 3-1 correctly against Brentford. Burnley matches away from home are absolutely mental goal fests. Over 3.5, over 4.5 goals. Even if they do score, they're unlikely to trouble the judge. particularly with Newcastle in this form. Tottenham Hotspur, taxi for Thomas Frank. It's making an absolute pig's ear out of Tottenham's season. I think their only win at home was the first match of the season. They are in awful form, and this is another London derby that they do not want at all, having been beaten by Fulham. Talking of dodge pots, Liverpool FC, the market has pushed their odds up from what they've been in the last couple of matches, about 1.56 earlier in the previous match. They got that 2-0 win. Still 1.4 in the match before that. Leeds United. Oh, yeah, Sassuolo have scored against Fiorentina. Leeds United been very competitive at home recently with a couple of 2-1 results, one a win, one a defeat, and then that 3-1 win against Chelsea where they scored 2 goals before half-time. This is going to be a bit of a headache for Arne Slot, that's for sure. That's why you're getting a bit lukewarm odds there. Collect our odds on favourites here, and you'll have seen why I investigated the Norwich match. Got an odds on favourite going a goal down and then 2-2. Blackburn Rovers odds on today against Sheffield Wednesday, who are having an awful season. Bristol City just a tad of odds against. Get a look in. Ipswich and Coventry. Well, Ipswich have been very, very unreliable at odds on of late. They needed a last gasp equaliser in their last match. I wish I'd played that a bit like Dave played earlier on. It was primed to lay that last match for an Ipswich equaliser. They've scored in the last 7 away matches. That was a stat to take into the death. And then you get a really nice late play like Dave got today if they score the goal. Swansea against Oxford United is another odds on. We've got a few difficult to call matches. We don't have to play if we don't want to. This is why English League 1, English League 2 is sparse. The FA Cup liquidity will be an issue here. But again, we can just pick up our odds on favourites, which is any team at odds of 2 or lower. Slovakia have taken a 2-0 lead against Poulsen. And you can see why I'm very cautious about these Czech leagues. But as ever, this is an excellent entry point if Poulsen look as if they're up for it. So we've got a few odds on favourites today in the FA Cup, but it's going to get short shrift if we don't get anything solid. Lens thoroughly deserve their odds on quote against Nantes. And AI told me Lens were top of the league. I didn't believe it. Let's take a look. I didn't believe AI at all, but bang, there we go. So the AI reports are all there for you. What I would recommend, or I recommend you how you use them. You could potentially look at weaknesses and strengths, and the AI itself will give you 3 trading angles. Up to you if you wanted to follow those or not. If you're taken by their arguments, and the great thing about it, it does give you reasoning. So if you use these as sounding boards at the bottom here, follow the reasoning. Do you agree with the reasoning? Don't forget, AI is purely unemotional. It will just look at the stats. This analysis is excellent considering this is a free app and considering I haven't linked it to any API at all, not even the Google API. Now imagine once I link this to the Google API, it's going to be even better. I can improve the sources it gets, but this is freely created. I'm going to have to look at the costings once I take it live for you. But as you can see, it's very, very useful. And it will open the door up to any match that you fancy as well. Just have a cup of my tea. So Lens thoroughly deserve their odds on quote today. Toulouse and Strasbourg, 2.55 the favourite. Toulouse have a very, very strong goal habit. Strasbourg have been top 4. Are they still top 4? Let's have a look. Drum roll, please. Just outside the top 4. Just a couple of consecutive defeats. You can see, add 6 to that, they'd be up here, top 5. So going off the boil a little, Strasbourg at the moment, but look at Lens, absolutely superb season. Not one of those names you would have put on the title roster. And with Marseille losing yesterday 1-0 in a match they weren't expected to win, Lens could have a really good shot at the title this season. Paris Saint-Germain against Rennes, quite obvious. As you know, they're odds-on favourite. And yeah, that's the Slovakia one. Montpellier, 1.8 favourite, a goal down. Again, if you played this with insurance, you wouldn't be worried, would you? You get a break even. Estac Troyes and Rodez, possibilities here. Let's go and have a look. Let's have a look at Estac Troyes. Estac Troyes and Rodez. Oh, it's gone already. Okay. There we go. It's just finished. Bundesliga odds-ons today. Well, they're just a tad evens. Köln, just because St. Pauli keep losing. Freiburg odds-on away from home against Heidenheim. Bayern Munich already leading against Stuttgart. Could be both teams to score this one at some point. The Wolf odds-on today. And Leipzig winning for fun and scoring 2 goals at home. Leipzig, rock solid stuff. But Eintracht Frankfurt, their only defeats have come since or before the 4th of October. Sorry, I'm getting irritated by this in Play Guru. It keeps repeating the same scoreline over and over again. Thank you. Hopefully you stopped. He's telling me about Slovakia 2-0. I know, mate. You've told me 20 times. So hopefully you'll shut up now. We might have some problems. Is this really half time? Let's have a look. Yes, it is. So that's fine. Just want to make sure it's not frozen. So let's work our way through our odds-ons in preparation for the 3 o'clocks. Man City and Newcastle, both deserving of odds-on quotes, given their away opponents are not the sharpest tools in the box. Sunderland struggling for that second goal, as I say. We could dearly do with a Sunderland lead here today. Leeds, well, Liverpool odds-on. Just give it some thought there. And where have I got to? All the way down to Bundesliga 2. Darmstadt, odds-on favourites. Bundesliga 3, we don't need. And Olympiacos, 1.08 against OFI Crete, who can park the bus. So watch out there. You might see a little bit of frustration from Ollie today. I normally follow All Hail to the Ale, Hapoel Beersheva in Israel, but they're not playing today. Inter Milan against Como. Yes, they're odds on, but boy, oh boy, I wouldn't be backing at 1.55. Como have only lost to Bologna, and they kept Bologna from scoring a second goal. This is pretty much a carbon copy of what the Arsenal are doing, Cesc Fabregas's Como. You could lay over 0.5 goals at 5 o'clock and hope to get a 0-0 at half-time, and then lay the draw, full liability, second half for a free punt. If it doesn't end in a score draw, you will clean up. Atalanta been in absolutely awful form. Far too many draws this season, only 3 wins. Awful, awful stuff at those odds. PSV and Heerenveen. Well, due deference to Heerenveen at PSV are these odds, 1.75. Ajax, I couldn't back them with stolen money at the moment. Managerless, though they have been a couple of weeks, just all over the shop. Not so Feyenoord. You're expecting them to be 3 or 4 goal heroes today. Willemsvee against Dordrecht. I can show you how to check. Well, we can do that now. Just to check, it's a league for goals. We want to check whether these two have been priced to get over 2.5 goals today. Quite simply, you can go to odds here, or you can go to oddschecker.com. Go to over 2.5 goals. If it's under 1.6, I think you've got a green light for the expectation for over 2.5 goals today. 1.48, there you go. 2.5, 1.48. In a league known for goals. You can find your leagues known for goals here at soccerstats.com, and you can do your 2.5 goal. I think it's Netherlands or Holland. Netherlands, yeah. So we'll just find the Eerste Divisie. Eerste Divisie here, 63% over 2.5 goals, 81% over 1.5 goals. Now we've got a match where the market expects goals in a league known for goals. So we should get a green light for over 2.5 goals in that particular match. That's how, or a shortcut, if you can trust the odds, to highlight over 2.5 goal matches for you. So we're down to Norway, and we haven't got any goals yet in the Bundesliga. Well, we've got the Augsburg goal, so we'll look at that one soon, because Bayer Leverkusen I thought would be extremely strong favs today. And indeed, I think we should pull the trigger. 1 shot on 5 off 4 corners, really going strongly. 4 wins in 5. 1-0 win against Bayer Leverkusen against Dortmund. That was in the cup. Did lose to Dortmund, but beat Man City away in the Champions League, and beat Wolfsburg away as well. Augsburg, I just can't see anything in them. Conceding 3 goals for fun. Lukewarm odds about Bayer Leverkusen. That's the only problem for me. Lukewarm odds. And it's a 2-0 lead as well. Is it confirmed? Because that's certainly an angle in. Indeed. So I'm glad we delayed a little bit there. That's not the odds you expect of a side in such good form. I wonder if this is a derby of sorts. But we might have an angle. Mango Catcher, nice to see you. I do miss my mango sticky rice when I'm in Thailand. Have to make do with ginger nuts and a cup of tea, I'm afraid. Have a look at the odds for Augsburg Bayer Leverkusen. Let's have a quick look. Make sure or see whether their value. It's not the greatest odds on the planet, is it? Probably the market not really fancying this Augsburg side at all. You can perhaps both teams to score, no. If it's high enough, but it's not really, it's a bit illiquid. If it was 4.6 here, you'll be looking to win your stake, and it would cover the 2-0, cover the 3-0, cover the 4-0, but it costs 13 quid. So that's quite hefty insurance. And then the correct score, 2-1 to Augsburg, costs 7. So you're a total of 20 quid, but that gives you a green light to go match odds, and Leverkusen at 9.8, for example. That could really tempt you in, couldn't it? £168.56. And you'll also be laying Augsburg. Half stake is liability. Something like 220 quid. If Leverkusen pull it off, we've got 2-0 and 2-1 covered. Just want to have a look at the second goal for Augsburg. Was it a penalty? Was it an own goal? Kade Giannoulis. Well, it looks like Giannoulis is being the spoiler for Bayer Leverkusen today, isn't he? Goal and an assist. Just want to have a look at the head-to-heads. Why are Leverkusen not strongly fancied given their superb form? Well, they have won the last 3 head-to-heads, last 4 head-to-heads, and the last 3 by 2 clear goals. I don't see anything in Augsburg. 1-0 against Hamburg, fair enough, newly promoted Hamburg. A bit of a battle with Stuttgart, fair enough. But certainly Leverkusen, coming off the back of that Man United win. And then you can see the malaise afterwards, post-Champions League. Fatigue, maybe, with only 4-day gap. They'll be going on a break soon, these Germans. I think it's about the 21st of December. But I'm getting an interest in here in some capacity. But by far the better chances for Augsburg, 0.94 expected goals. Paul Dunwoody has a good idea. Augsburg 1.06 delay in the half-time market. That is exceptional value with 15 minutes to go. So thank you for that, Paul. Indeed. That could be a compromise for us to actually have an interest here. So I think that's a great call from Paul. Keeps our liability low and it ensures that we have an interest. There we go, look. £2.70. Bang. 15 minutes is a long time for a side not used to winning. And for Bayer Leverkusen, should be full of confidence. If you can beat Man City, you can beat anyone. Notably, last week, the Hoff were priced at 1.67 against Augsburg, priced to win. Leverkusen, not even odds on, so please bear that in mind. There's some doubt in the market makers, but that is a good compromise for us. Getting involved in a half-time market, low liability, will capture a Leverkusen goal if it comes early enough that the market thinks they'll get a second. Ka-ching. Don't forget, we do see goals before half-time in Leverkusen matches. We do tend to see both teams to score. Just show you the XG as well, just to give you some interest. Let me just get my downloads. We're going to have a look at the Leverkusen match. So Augsburg and Bayer Leverkusen XG should be a good set of figures, really, for Bayer Leverkusen. 1.72 expected goals on average for Bayer Leverkusen. Augsburg are overperforming today. On average, they don't normally create enough chances for that second goal. Ordinarily, Bayer Leverkusen are a little tighter than they are today. But they do have that threat. Bayer Leverkusen, 1.72, knocking on the door of creating enough solid chances for 2 goals a game. And they're playing in Augsburg, who give sides as equally a good chance at scoring 2 goals a game. So that 2-0 entry point might be value based on XG. They're in Champions League spot, but trail leaders Bayern Munich by 11. Analysis verdict: Leverkusen's superior attack should exploit Augsburg's poorest defence. Expect a 1-3 or a 0-2. So they're expecting 2 or 3 goals, and confidence is high from Mr. AI. I've included now in the actual app itself the actual goals and the expected goals, so you can get a kind of a gauge on that. So we'll wait for a little bit. I think Paul's entry point is a really good one for us to dip our toe in. We can always reinvestigate this at half-time. Leverkusen get a half-time team talk. We can look at the soccer stats, goal times for Augsburg second half. So I think there's a little bit to go in this match. I quite like my both teams to score no, etc. And a whopping win on Bayer Leverkusen. Sassuolo have that lead against Fiorentina. Fiorentina manager surely getting the sack soon. Wolfsburg against Union Berlin. I wouldn't be laying just yet. The Wolf were priced to win today, and they do score and concede. They have done in the last 4, and indeed, that's a habit for Bayer Leverkusen as well. Let me just go back, make sure we get alerted to our odds-ons. It's at it again, telling me it's 2-0 Slovakia Poulsen. This is very, very irritating indeed. We've got a suspended market. Let's see if we've got a goal in the Augsburg Leverkusen match. Bournemouth 0, Chelsea 0, goal disallowed. I'm not getting the dings here. Unmute the site would help. Everton 1 against Nottingham Forest. Now, that's going to be difficult for us to unpack. That will be the third consecutive 1-0 win for Everton against Forest. But the problem Everton have, their goals tend to be 70th minute 1-0 goals. So they've only got 20 minutes to hold out. Now it's a 6-minute lead. I think they might be vulnerable. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. The lead is far, far too early for 1-0 merchants like them. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that match. But the 3 o'clocks are with us, so let's bring up the Premier League and make sure we are up with all of the matches. So I'll just clean up some of these. I go through match by match. I know I can use the league filter, but I don't like to. Just pick up the odd league. It's still telling me Slovakia is 2-0. I know, mate. You don't have to keep telling me. Oh, that's the one negative about this guru. It's if you've got mild ADHD like me, for it to tell you it's 2-0 12 times in a row, it's just a little bit. Oh. Aberdeen 1-0 Merchants of late, but then that suddenly ended with a 3-3 against St Mirren. They did come from behind in that one. Not priced to be 1-0 Merchants today, Aberdeen. But the SPL I have enjoyed. We'll keep an eye on that. Hearts aren't playing today. They were disappointing last match. They should have beaten Kilmarnock quite easily. They did end the draw. We can't play Scottish League 2 or the Championship or Scottish League 1. Severe liquidity issues, which is a real problem. But I will just check out St Johnstone and Ross County, newly relegated. St Johnstone have been having the time of their life in this lower tier, but they're on a run of 2 consecutive defeats. They want to go straight back up, so they are well worth following. St Mirren getting that 3-3 against Aberdeen was a good signal, because Aberdeen been very, very defensively sound. That 3-3, as you can see there. But that's the second consecutive match they've conceded 3 goals in away from home. They're keeping it tight at home, but they're failing to score. Not really good candidates for a trade, are they? Working our way down while we're waiting for goals to pop in. We'll go down, get rid of some of these lower tiers. And I got a goal in an odds-on favourite match, so I'll just take a quick look at that. I get alerted to these by the sound, and it pops up here. So now we can investigate. These will be FA Cup matches, I would suspect. And we can see the odds-on favourite Bolton have gone a goal down. Grimsby, I believe, very strong favourites today. And they're part of my 1.6 list. So let me just show you those. I've got some time allotted to sort out the betting goes, because I've got some really good angles. And I've been working with Gemini AI because it's linked to Google Docs. Gemini can just pop in here and analyze everything. So here's the over 2.5 goal matches today at odds of 1.6 or low. It's not 1.5, it's 1.6. Normally, they're absolute goal fests. So this, in the future, I think it has a near 100% over 1.5 goal record or thereabouts. So that could be a real angle in 1.5 goals already. Just got an exceptional record for that. Very good record, 20-minute plus as well. Yeah, Paul says I can turn off the audio alerts, but I don't want to, Paul. I need audio alerts for the matches in the top here. But they just have that very annoying habit in some matches of repeating the same scoreline over and over and over again. Just with that Slovakia one. Well, I did suggest both teams to score element in here today, but I didn't act on it, which is a pity. Odds-on favourite Freiburg have taken the lead, so there's no surprises there. Swindon and Bolton in the FA Cup. If you're interested, let's just pay that one some mind. Keep an eye on the odds, and let's bring up the Premier League as well in our watch list. So as Paul says, you can get rid of the alerts but I don't want to. I want to be alerted of goals coming in, particularly when I'm in Thailand and you have the really bad time difference. I can lie on my bed and just listen to the ding and react to the ding. So that's the reason I've got it here. But thankfully, I'm on British time, which is very, very handy indeed. So let's go to the FA Cup. Have a look at Swindon and Bolton. Bring that one up. It's the first odds-on favourite to go down. Are they up for the cup or not? We will soon find out via the in-play stats. So we're just getting sorted out with these. I can also get rid of a few of these leagues that I don't want. Cercle Brugge, odds-on favourite today as well. So we're set up for our 3 o'clocks. You can see now a 2-0 lead for Wolfsburg. Do you fancy Union Berlin here? Did get a recent 2-2 against Bayern Munich, but that was a pre-Champions League Bayern Munich caught out away from home. Something to work off. And again in the DBF Pokal, I did go for a 3-3 there, didn't I? I told you to take on Bayern Munich at 1-3. And Union Berlin did get that second goal. So they've got the 2-goal habit, but they've also got the 2-goal conceding habit in 3 of the last 4 matches. We've got a very strong both teams to score for the Wolf. It's going to cost you nothing to lay them now, I think, in the hope that this will play. We can investigate this, I think, second half again. Bayer Leverkusen, we're not seeing anything from them yet, are we? I think Paul's idea of getting involved in the half-time market was an excellent one because it's cost us nothing now, has it? And we're going to get even better odds second half if we still fancy Bayer Leverkusen. Wigan Athletic, Sheffield United against Stoke. 3-goal Sheffield United again, perhaps today. We will soon find out. None of the odds-on favourites there. You can check Heidenheim, make sure. And we've got odds-on favourite Wigan. Just got the first goal there. So this is a good technique I use to make sure that we don't get overwhelmed on what is ordinarily a very busy Saturday. So we've got the Germans down here. Stuttgart goal offside. So keep an eye on that. If they're keeping Bayern Munich to 0-1, Stuttgart, we might get a nice low odds lay of Bayern Munich. But they are 2-goal heroes, Bayern Munich. A bit like Manchester City at home. Bayern Munich have not scored 2 goals this season. You can see Freiburg are odds-on favourites. So not really going to investigate that one too much, but this is of interest, potentially second half, just with Bayer Leverkusen's reputation. But it was the odds that put me off. Something in the market not suggesting the usual performance we'd get from a side capable of beating Man City away. Dinamo Zagreb, second half beginning against Hajduk Split. Derby-style match, so don't forget that. Dukla Prague taking the lead against Slovan Liberec, but these odds-on favourites going down like flies, aren't they, in the Czech 1 League? We don't have to focus too much. Highly likely that draw will be vulnerable second half, won't it? It is 1.95 home favourites, FC Köln, not the strongest side on the planet, but they have scored and conceded in each of the last 5 matches, i.e. they have a goal in them. And we're getting some fight from St. Pauli. They did beat Borussia Mönchengladbach in the DBF Pokal, but if that was the Bundesliga, I think they would have lost that because Borussia Mönchengladbach suddenly hitting some electric form of late. St. Pauli have scored and conceded in the last 2 away Bundesliga matches. So we could do with St. Pauli scoring first today. I think it would be a confident lay. And we've got Cheltenham and Buxton. So let's just check that one out. It could be, I think, Buxton, probably the underdog. So let's check it out. Indeed, 1.61 Cheltenham or a goal down to Buxton. So we can have a look at that one, put it on our watch list up here so we can see as the matches progress. And that looks like a good signal potentially for the second half, doesn't it? A nice rise in momentum late on in the first half. If they can just carry that on through at the beginning of the second half, we can possibly take this Augsburg side on 2-0 up. It's not the thing you normally see from Augsburg. So let's go to the FA Cup. Check out Cheltenham and Buxford. Bring that one up. And we'll see whether Cheltenham are up for the cup or not today. So we've got a couple in the FA Cup. Just to keep an eye on if they start lighting up, and if we can get a decent low liability entry point, things will be good. Don't forget Burnley last match. I think, what was it, 0-0 at half time, and we went 3-1 second half. Watch out if it's 0-0 at half time. We could see fireworks second half. Newcastle are on a 2-goal habit at home, unbeaten. Tottenham and Brentford. Can't trust Tottenham, can you, at the moment? So Grimsby, odds on, taking a 2-goal lead. Sassuolo 3, Fiorentina 1. What an awful season Fiorentina are having. I feel sorry for them. Something is severely up with the Viola. They could do with Gabriel Batistuta back up front. So it's a quietish session today, but we've got Arsenal in the locker. I got 30 quid out of that one. So I'm not going to be rushing too much. Just want to make a small, solid profit each session. We want to keep our liabilities restricted and try to pick up any decent plays as they come along. So we're just trying to figure out whether Bayer Leverkusen have some fight in them. Köln and St. Pauli, well, I can show you this for yourself, and you can see what a state St. Pauli are in. They have trouble even score. No, they don't. That's another team, isn't it? But we'll have a look. There's that equaliser for Slovan Liberec, but the Czech favourites are not doing very well. So let's have a look at FC Köln. Both of these sides newly promoted, so arguably it is a match where St. Pauli would be eyeing an end to this awful, awful sequence. You can see here the wheels have just fallen off. But they have been playing, coincidentally, 4 European sides in the last 5 away matches. So arguably, Stuttgart, Eintracht Frankfurt, Freiburg and Bayern Munich has been a tough encounter for St. Pauli. The fact they've got a goal in the last 2 is some promise, but they've only kept the 1 clean sheet, and that was against newly promoted Hamburger in a win. They started off very, very brightly, didn't they? Early season enthusiasm, exactly the same as Köln, and it looks like Köln are struggling themselves, but that 3-4 against Frankfurt, quite something. 4 goals scored against Hamburger as well. A 0-0 would be a bit of a stretch. Would you agree? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 matches for FC Köln. Both teams have scored. They failed to score only once, and that was against Dortmund. And they've only kept 2 clean sheets. With St. Pauli scoring in 2 consecutive aways, that 0-0 should be vulnerable. You can check out your 0-0s. You can check them out here at the base. So we just go home for the home side, away for the away side. You can see it's quite standout, can't you? 70% of Köln goals scored have come second half. 6 of those goals out of 9 have come in the last 15 minutes. So where do you think you'd be targeting a possible entry point? You could lay over 0.5 goals at half time and hope that they get going there. 75th minute. St. Pauli away from home. Well, it's 50-50 really with everything, isn't it? Scoring and conceding. Not scoring enough and conceding 2.5 times nearly as much. Not a good side at all. Or not a good set of stats, those. 1-0 at half time at home. None at full time. And for St. Pauli, no 0-0s at half time away. None at full time. So We're not expecting a 0-0 second half in this one, so the draw should really be vulnerable. Now, you've got an option if you're looking at your liability control. If you're using £40 stakes, it's going to cost a little bit, but I would say 8-9 quid, 13. So if you're going to be covering that 0-0, it's going to cost you quite a lot. You might want to reduce your stake to 20 quid. Oh, sorry, wasn't meant to be placed. I was meant to show you with the confirm box, but it's been placed now. That is far less worrisome, isn't it? You have to write that off now in case you get an early goal. What you do with teams like this is hope that remains 2-2, 0-0 for long enough for these odds to go down and for you to get a value lay. The shorter the odds, the bigger the return, and you get a free punt as long as it doesn't end in a score draw. But the insurance is relatively high here. So that's an angle if you fancied it. I'm not expecting a 0-0, but it is two newly promoted sides, so those kind of derby style-ish matches, aren't they? So let's take a look through some of these. It's a bit of a quiet day today, but I'm not pushing for a play. You have to take each session as it comes. We filled our boots last week because everything purred. It's a little bit more difficult this week, but let's just get the old play like the Arsenal play, and then we can dip our toe into that. I like the Leverkusen setup at the moment. That looks good. It's a kind of underdog leading 2-0 on or around half time. I would prefer if Augsburg were away from home, then you'd have a stronger chance. Leverkusen's at home would be compelled to give a better performance. Grimsby 3-0, we don't need to be alerted to that anymore. I think Huesca are odds-on favourites, so we can have a look at that. Grimsby doing what an odds-on favourite does. Huesca, I think we're odds-on pre-match. We'll just clean up. There we are. We've got them here already. No, they weren't. Okay, so we don't need to be investigating that one too much. So let's have a look at the Premier League and the Bundesliga at half-time. And the other matches. Derby-style match. I'm not going to be pushing this one too much. DZ against Hajduk Split. Again, just check these out all first half, so don't be caught out. 4 shots on target, off target second half, so they are still dominating the match against Hajduk Split. Slovan Liberec, well, they flirted with a goal, didn't they? At odds on. We've got, should have Slovan Liberec from the Czech One League on our list. That will come my games here. These are all the odds on favourite matches here. Slovan Liberec, no, there we go, Liberec, 1.7 favourites. I thought it was a 1-1, but no, it's not. 2-0 to Southampton under the new manager. Excellent performance. Not priced to be that solid today. Birmingham, aren't they up there or thereabouts in the league? So we'll keep an eye on that one. Not expected to be that compelling today. Köln, I think, as you can see here quite clearly, 0.01 for St. Pauli expected goals. Awful stuff. Awful stuff. 0.8 for FC Köln. Dominated the middle half of the first half. Just gone a little bit flat afterwards. This is a worry with this match. If you see a match like this all the way through with that kind of low momentum, it's prime candidate for laying over 0.5 goals at half time, isn't it? You're hoping that St. Pauli make it as difficult as possible for Köln to score, because it doesn't look like St. Pauli are going to get on the score sheet as this stands. But season-long stats are certainly with that draw ending. Leverkusen, I think we might have a good play second half. both teams to score no will probably be a lot lower than it was when I first showed you. So if you are to play both teams to score, you play it immediately because it's gone up considerably now, hasn't it? But you might have to do this without insurance. It's certainly low enough. And if you wanted a tickle, you could always just focus on Bayer Leverkusen at 14s. Doesn't cost you much, and as you know, they got a 2-1 before the hour mark. You're not going to be seeing 14s at all, are you? So I think we might have something going for us second half. There's no need to rush in just yet. Just got to put my jacket on, getting a bit nippy. Normally you're hearing a fan in the background, but not so today. So I think we've got something. We've got a Spurs goal against Brentford, but it is a London derby, so I don't really want to focus too much on that one, particularly a side as poor as Spuds. So you can have a play with this just to see the kind of liability you're facing. It'll be about a third of liability. I would look at perhaps getting 10s, but I always like to try and get this up to 100 because you've got something to work with then. It gives you some leverage. So you've got that at probably £4 there with a 50. And then that would get that to about £78. So that would be 12. So if you're willing to take a £12 hit, you can't really take insurance out on this unless you want to go correct score Dutching, which is not something I tend to do, correct score Dutching, but it is a ready option for you. For example, you can cover the 2-0, cover the 2-1, cover the 2-0 as break evens, and you could load up on the 1-2, oh sorry, 2-2, 2-1. Let's get this right. So we've got 2-1 to Bayer Leverkusen, which we want. 2-0 as a break even. So have a play around, see the kind of liability you can get. 2-2. See, it's starting to rise now because I've got break even on the 2-0. 3-0, you can have a break even on that as well. Whether they want to put a cherry on top with a 2-3 at 21s, not going to cost you much to add that to your roster. So if you want to use a £40 stake, for example, our usual stake, this again is kind of insurance, isn't it, on the 2-0, 3-0. But where do you stop? Where do you stop your hedging? Do you include 3-1 as well? And then things start getting a little awry. Cheltenham had the equaliser against Buxton. Didn't keep an eye on that one. So this is probably my best one for the second half, I think, once we get going. Looking on down, again, lay the draw, Köln and St. Pauli looks a good play based on seasonal stats. We can get rid of Sassuolo Fiorentina. I don't expect anything from Fiorentina, although their expected goals is pretty good. Only the one shot on target. So creating enough good chances, but not really converting, are they? That could be an angle in, couldn't it? Wolfsburg against Union Berlin. So let's have a look at this one. Low enough to be layable, certainly. And they are the favourite, Wolfsburg, so not expected to cock this one up. But it's a very, very good entry point. You've seen Union Berlin knocking on the door. You've seen that both teams to score habit as well. And you can quite easily get over the 100s about Union Berlin just with £2, as you can see there. So I think that's a really good play. £8 liability for the both teams to score habit. And we've got a nice bit of leverage here. We can get that 2-1 from Union Berlin. You can see, again, let's bring the match up. You'll see that both teams, the score pattern for both teams. Wolfsburg are priced to win today, so it's not a surprise. But if we're ever going to get involved, it's going to be 2-0, where you can keep your liability as low as possible. So let's move our way down. Just check the recent form out. So you can see odds-on favourite for this lot. The last win against newly promoted Hamburger. 3-3 against FC Köln, newly promoted FC Köln. Really not compelling form, is it? At all. We've got some goals coming in. And not a surprise. Not a surprise. You know, what a pity we couldn't get the away sides to score first. Damn. And look at that. That, depending on Poulsen's, how Poulsen look in the in-play stats market, that's your entry point there, isn't it? 3-0. Odds on favourite away from home with 22 minutes to go. So we'll have a look at that one. Hajduk Split taking the lead against DZ. If you're looking at the in-play stats, it's an unexpected lead. 4 shots on, 6 off. But it is a derby-style match. Are you going with the in-play stats and taking on this Hajduk lead or not? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 consecutive both teams to score matches. 3 of those 4 matches, the Wolf have conceded 2 goals at least. But they are playing form sides. Leverkusen, the mighty Hoff, scoring 3 for fun. Werder Bremen, renewed defensive postures for them. 4 consecutive home defeats. Union Berlin looking a little more robust, but they don't travel well, do they? Yes, we had some mayhem here at Eintracht Frankfurt, but failed to score against Leverkusen. Failed to score against a renewed Werder Bremen. Did get the win against St. Pauli, newly promoted. 2-2 against a pre-Champions League Bayern Munich. And a poor result here. So in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of 8 matches, they have failed to score that second goal. But I think it's a possible play because this lot don't know how to win. And you're getting a really low entry point, aren't you? If you fancied a bit of that, off we go. I might pass this one on to Telegram. It's not as compelling as the Arsenal one, but it's a low liability play. And we could see a both teams to score pattern, which I'll just confirm here before I pass it on. Both teams have scored in the last 4 matches. Both teams scored it in the last 1 match. But that looks good. Conceded in the last 6, Wolfsburg as well. And looking at where these two are in the league, it's 15th against 12th. It's a big gap in form. But look at the conceding rate. It's awful. Absolutely awful. Union Berlin just having trouble scoring. So, yeah. You play today's stats or seasonal stats. Seasonal stats are saying we're not going to be seeing a goal at all. But 29 attacks to 5, 2 shots on, 6 off. Low entry point. You might get something out of this with the both teams to score habit in 3 of the last 4 and in each of the last 4 for Wolfsburg. 2-0 to Manchester City. Olympiacos have the goal. Cercle Brugge and Standard Liège, odds-on favourite, have gone a goal down. Blackburn are odds-on today against Sheffield Wednesday and Aberdeen. Don't forget that 3-3 against St Mirren. If they lead 0-3, you might want to lay them for a bit of fun. So the favourites are delivering today. Contrast that with last week when very strong favourites conceded first and we got stuck in. And boy, did they all deliver. Wasn't it superb to see? But favourite delivering today, favourite delivering there. But we might still have a Burnley goal in us somewhere today. And indeed, same with Stuttgart. So that's second half beginning, St. Pauli and FC Köln. So I've got that lay of over 0.5 goals in the bag, albeit with only a 20 quid stake. I'm quite happy to sit on this 0-0 and wait for it. Let's see if we can get that draw at lower odds. Augsburg and Bayer Leverkusen, I think I might have a play in this one. It looks a good play. Augsburg and Bayer Leverkusen. It would be a bit of a stretch to think Bayer Leverkusen can't score against this lot when the mighty Hoff got 3 against them. So you can see the odds have gone down already from 14s. So I have a bit of a play with that £6 liability there. And Augsburg, see if we can edge that one up towards the £100 mark without it costing us too much. I think that's okay. £11 liability. We've got a little bit on the draw just to keep you interested should Leverkusen make it 2-1. So I'll just pass this on to Telegrammers. I have laid Augsburg at 1.32, 2-0 up, and backed Leverkusen at 13.5, or 13s as it is now, 2-0 down. Showing good stats out. Leverkusen did beat Manchester City away recently. Shouldn't really be losing 2-0 to a side like Augsburg, but weren't priced to be that competitive today. It's a good entry point. It's a low liability entry point. We've got a good chance, particularly as they ended the second half very well by Leverkusen. Let's see whether Union Berlin can keep this momentum up and get us that quick goal. That would be fantastic, wouldn't it? Hibs have scored first against Falkirk, no surprise. Ollie, 1.07 shots against Crete, no surprise. We nearly got to half time, didn't we? I told you Crete would park the bus, but only 8 minutes to go to half time. Well, less than that. About, what was it, 9 minutes? 9 minutes to half time. What a pity. Aberdeen, I think we can get rid of. They are in pretty decent, but we'll keep an eye just in case that 3-3 resurfaces. But looking at Dundee, 2-1 win against 3-1 win against St Mirren, but failing to score. And there's the FC Köln goal. If you did lay the draw straight away, well done. It was. I didn't get involved, I'm afraid. This is a. Yes, I did, didn't I? Did I lay over 0.5 goals? And that's the problem. Get an early goal. So you have to make a decision. Are you going to go for the insurance and the bigger reward with the lower liability, but you might get caught out, as you have done here. But it was a good call. We looked at the stats. So if you did lay the draw off the bat, which is always an option, you always have your own options as well. That was a good call. And I can't see St. Pauli really getting out of jail there. We got Wolfsburg and Union Berlin possibles there. Watch out for a sting in the tail from Stuttgart if this remains 0-1 for a long enough period for Bayern Munich. We'll keep an eye on Dundee. I could do with a 0-3 here and see whether they're going to concede 3 goals again. Swansea, touch of odds on, scoring the first goal. That's why I do the odds on favourite list. So I'll take FC Köln out of the equation. We can keep an eye on the score as it comes in, but I don't need to follow it. Cercle Brugge and Standard Liège favourites 0-2 down again, but one of our lesser leagues. So let me just clean up. There we go, we've got it down here. 1.95 home favourite, but with that kind of form, awful, isn't it? So there must be something wrong with Standard Liège that aside with that poor form like Cercle Brugge are odds on favourite. 0-2. Not going to be rushing in on this one. St Johnstone are looking good at the moment. The newly relegated side against Raith Rovers, possibility of that draw ending second half if that remains 0-0 at half time. Cheltenham and Buxton, I'll take that off the watch list. We've got a few odds on favourites coming in, and we can remove Olympiacos from the equation now. 1.07, doing exactly what you expect. And in future, if you wanted a half-time play with these shorties, get involved. 1.05, get involved after 20 minutes. 1-0, 2-0, any unquoted in the half-time score market. You can produce some real value for you, far above, of course, backing them at 1.05. So take that one off. We don't need to be alerted anymore to Ollie, that's for sure. So it's warming up nicely. Derby style match, which is why I haven't pulled the trigger. And all of the shots on target, as you know, coming in the first half for Dinamo Zagreb. So I'm not going to be rushing into this one. It could be another one like Dave did earlier on. Just a late speculative lay of Hajduk Split away from home in a match they weren't priced to win. I think we can dispense with the Czech Republic today. 9 shots off target for Bayer Leverkusen. We could do with a goal in about the 60th minute. That would be excellent. Heidenheim and Freiburg, not too keen on this one. I'll play it by ear when the goals come in. If Union Berlin can continue this away momentum, you can see up there, really strong away momentum, we might get a play out of this. Right, the Polish one I don't need. We're not going to be following Poland, so I can get rid of Polish League 2. Don't need to be alerted to those. Just helps me out. So Wolfsburg were waiting to see whether Union Berlin can score a goal. Similar Bayer Leverkusen, I'll be more confident with them. 10 shots off target though. Can they just get us that breakthrough early enough to get the market moving? And Ipswich have scored first against Coventry. Ipswich scoring that very, very late equaliser in their last match. Have been very disappointing. We know what Coventry are like, absolutely chock full of goals. So normally in the last 2 weeks we've profited from Coventry, but they were odds-on favourites. They're not so today. But Frank Lampard's side certainly have a severe goal threat in them, don't they? Just clean up a bit of this. Alaves and Real Sociedad, 2.8, 2.7 the favourite, so you know what you're going to get with that. Very, very tough to read match. Hibernian already 2-0 up, 42nd minute. Falkirk, I think, newly promoted, are they? They're looking like a newly promoted side, certainly. Few too many draws, though, but are they score draws? No, they're not. They're 0-0s. So not looking too hot, that. But the corollary to that is 0-0s. Are they really going to concede a third goal? Sheffield United 3-0 already. We don't need to be alerted to that anymore, do they? Odds-on favourite doing a number there. Well, this is unexpected for Tottenham. A 2-0 lead in a London derby, scoring 2 goals as well. It's very unexpected. Partick Thistle are second in the Scottish Championship, a bit like St Johnstone, showing some good form. Let's work our way down, see if there's any other matches of potential interest. Well, we're waiting for our 2-0s to hopefully turn into 2-1s. We've got Heerenveen and PSV. Should be goals involved there. Willemsveen and Dordrecht, we've already checked. The market's expecting over 2.5 goals. Let's see whether that match actually delivers over 2.5 goals. So we'll get rid of a few of these. You can see the odds on favourites having an appalling time of it in the Czech One League. So we have to be so careful in these lower tiers. They can flatter to deceive. Southampton certainly not priced, well, 2.25 to be this emphatic. Coventry, given they've got us some wonderful profits in the last 2 or 3 weeks, well worth following today. Not odds-on favourite though, but still well worth following. So those will be my shortlists at the moment, and what has been compared to yesterday, last Saturday, a quieter session. So let's work our way through again. Dinamo Zagreb, 80th minute, 0-1. But as we know, nothing doing with the shots on target this second half. Yes, it could be one to take Hajduk on, particularly a 0-1 lead. And Buxton have taken the lead yet again against Cheltenham. And Burnley's red card should condemn them to another goal conceded by 2-goal Newcastle at home. Probably not going to get that both teams to score that we see in Burnley away matches with that red card coming in now. 1.02 expected goals for Bayer Leverkusen. They weren't priced to be emphatic today, and maybe the market was onto something. 11 shots off target for them. Can we get that single goal to get things moving? That would be excellent. Wolfsburg and Union Berlin was more speculative, based again on that momentum from Union Berlin, but they haven't followed it up second half. 2 shots on, 6 off. 0.81 expected goals. Again, the hour mark would be absolutely ideal for these 2-1s. Get the market thinking. Half an hour to go. Maybe we can see another goal. Bayern Munich, 2-goal heroes at the moment, aren't they? Scored 2 goals at least in every single match this season. It's a very hard side to lay, unless it's 0-1 late on. Stuttgart, some late goal action against Hamburger last week. We laid the draw, and Stuttgart lost to Hamburger. It's the beauty of that kind of a match. Laying the draw, it's a neutral play. Well, that puts to bed that speculative play on Union Berlin, 3-0. It was worth a go based purely on that momentum there and the both teams to score habit. Dundee and Aberdeen, I don't think we're going to see much in this one. We can get rid of that. Man City 2-0 up already, scoring the usual 2 goals at home against Sunderland, who have trouble scoring 2 goals away. That should be done and dusted. 2-0 to Everton. That is very unexpected. Not usual that they get 2 goals. Nottingham Forest, new manager syndrome. Again, it doesn't appeal. This is an early 1-0 lead, it was, but they've followed it up superbly, keeping clean sheets in their wins as well. I think the last 3 wins have all been clean sheet wins. So we can get rid of that Wolfsburg one, unless you wanted to top up if you fancied it. Because, again, 1.01, it's over, really, says the market. But there's a half hour to go. Moving on down, Bournemouth and Chelsea 0-0 at half time. Chelsea have only, I think, failed to score in their opening match of the season, haven't they? But Bournemouth need to put to bed this 4-defeat run, 3 of them coming away from home. Really, just knock them out. They're down to 14th place now. It's just knocked the stuffing out of them, hasn't it? All of the Premier League matches recently, since December has started, the ones that have had 0-0 at half time, they've all seen at least a goal second half. So that could be your angle second half. A simple lay the draw. We can have a look at the form. Look at the 0-0 habit for these two and how they can convert them second half. See whether they were one of the matches for the 2.5 goals. No, they weren't. Man City, Bournemouth were, yeah. They were under 1.6 for over 2.5 goals. So I wonder if we're going to see some goal action there. Newcastle, yes, got the goal. Grimsby have got 2 already. Been a goal in the Swindon match. goal in the Stuttgart match and the Augsburg match, 2 goals there. So it's warming up nicely, this list. Something I'll be passing on to you once I get it all analysed. It could be a really good way for you to make some money. Goals are coming in. 4-0 to the Wolf. Well, they're just showing me now that I was mistaken with that momentum. But laying at 2-0, it's not going to cost you too much, is it? So you don't have to worry. We can get rid of that, certainly. Bournemouth and Chelsea is what we're going to have a look at. 0-0 at half-time. As I say, Premier League matches 0-0 at half-time during this December period have always seen at least a goal second half. Bournemouth 0-0 at half-time, 78th minute Jack Grealish winner. 2 second half goals in the last match. No second half goal there. All second half goals against Fulham. Solitary 0-0 there. Couple of second half goals there. Chelsea did score. Pedro Neto, 50th minute. If you played that one 2-0 to 2-1 and cashed out, well done. Second half goal scored against Burnley. First half goal there. All second half goals against Nottingham Forest. Second half goal against Manchester United. And 3 second half goals, including Cole Palmer, who I don't think is playing. And 2 second half goals there as well. So they do have second half goals in them. You can double check at the very bottom here. And you can see again a focus maybe with substitutes might come goals. Well, there's that Slovan Liberec equaliser very, very late on against Dukla Prague. But you can see with the other result 3-0, it's a hit or miss league, isn't it? So Bournemouth and Chelsea, 60th minute, substitutions perhaps making a difference. 60th minute mark is a key mark, isn't it? And indeed, second half, 67% of Chelsea goals scored away from home have come in the second half. Particularly strong starters at the beginning of the second half and finishers. If they are to concede second half, away from home, it comes first half. So you'll be looking more to Chelsea this second half. So that draw could be vulnerable, I think. And Newcastle have that second goal that we expect of them, particularly against 10 men. That is match over. Where last week we had the underdog scoring first and our side fighting back and getting the wins. This week, the favourites are scoring first, so we don't really have those strong angles in at all. Tottenham, given it's a London derby, they might capitulate at some point. Certainly, if they're anywhere near those odds, got to be laid in their current poor form. Bayer Leverkusen, 60th minute, no shot on target, 11 off. So do note what the market says. There's always a reason. 2.1 the favourite, not the strongest favourite on the planet. Didn't really marry with their recent exceptional form, did it? So there must be something up. Could be an injury or something like that. You late speculators, even though Dinamo Zagreb have done absolutely nothing, you might want to do what Paul did earlier on, Dave did earlier on, and take on that late draw. It's going to cost you nothing to find out. It's still a little bit early at 1.3, but you can place it all in now if you fancied. I normally do £23 at 1.09 because it keeps your liability to £2 there, as you can see. And 1.06, £32 keeps your liability to £2 there. Boom. place those two, and you don't have to worry about the match now. If the goal comes now, those liabilities will be returned to you. Quite a way to go, considering it's the 90th minute. PSV have the goal against Heerenveen. Absolutely no surprise there, but Heerenveen have been 2-goal heroes of late. Bournemouth and Chelsea, just to finish off your checks for 0-0s at half-time. 3 0-0s at half-time at home, none at full-time for Bournemouth. Note that. Chelsea away from home, 1-0 at half-time away, no 0-0s at full-time. So that draw does look well worth taking on, doesn't it? Second half. In a league, the Premier League, where we're not seeing 0-0s this December just yet. We've got a goal in an odds-on favourite match. And we've got a goal back from Union Berlin. Nice of them to turn up. But that would have been far nicer at 2-1, wouldn't it? We'd have got an actual movement in the market then. But thank you for turning up just a little bit too late for my liking. Just have a walk through while we're here. Have a walk through your odds-on favourites. See if there is anything compelling. Cercle Brugge, 0-2 against Standard Liège. As I say, these are excellent entry points if there's a compelling argument. So let's have a look at that one. 0.63 expected goals, 3 shots on 6 off, 26 attacks to 25. It looks a very tight match statistically with the in-play stats, doesn't it? But again, if you fancy this, it's a decent entry point. I can't for the life of me understand why Cercle Brugge are odds-on favourite today. But then again, I couldn't understand why Bayer Leverkusen weren't very, very strong favourites today. The market getting it right, it seems, there. So that's one odds-on favourite, 0-2. Don't understand why they're 1.95 home favourites, Cercle Brugge. Working our way down, we know all about the Czech sides not being the greatest league, has it? Odds-on favourites delivering in the Premier League and getting their expected goals as well. We're expecting 2 from City. We're expecting 2 from Newcastle, exactly as per the seasonal form. Working our way down the Championship odds-on favourites. Blackburn are leading Sheffield Wednesday. Got a 0-0 Bristol City and Millwall, which you might want to just put in your notebook to keep an eye on, because we've got an odds-on favourite. We don't tend to see a lot of 0-0s in odds-on favourite matches. So have a look at that Millwall match, if I can find it. English Championship, so it will be in alphabetical order. Going down here. Championship, Millwall. So let's have a look. Bristol City and Millwall, there we go. It's one of those, as I was alluding to earlier, flat as a pancake momentum from both teams. Looks really bad, doesn't it? Flat as a pancake all the way through. Nothing above 40. Right, if you fancied it for laying over 0.5 goals and then sitting on it. We had a marginal odds-on home favourite, Bristol City. 2 wins in 3. Millwall, 2 wins in 3. But notably for Millwall, look, you've had 2 consecutive 0-0s, albeit at home at half-time. Both seeing Millwall score second half goals. We don't normally see 0-0s at half-time in Bristol City matches recently. But Millwall, 2 consecutive 0-0s. And we do see second half goals in Millwall matches. So that, but I'm not going to rush in, but it's something to look at. Odds on favourites, 0-0 at half-time. And Ipswich and Coventry, you can never discount Coventry, but they're not priced to win today. The last 2 matches we've got involved in, they've conceded first and they've led by half-time. Although Middlesbrough, we got involved, didn't we? Middlesbrough made it 2-2. Coventry went on 1 second half. They might do a number today against the odds, because Ipswich Town have been odds on against Blackburn. That was a wonderful play if you got that very late equaliser. And they got done by Oxford United second half. So both odds on favourites, Ipswich. So maybe the market's automatically, like they do with Liverpool, automatically pricing them at odds on favourites without any real justification. February 2025, emphatic winners against Coventry. Well, there's that second goal for Bayern Munich that you tend to get. So, yeah. Stuttgart, uphill battle. Every other team, uphill battle. They've scored 2+ goals in every single match this season. Dinamo Zagreb, slowly moving down. No real market forces, as you can see. £1 here, £5 there, £2 there. And the gap between back and lay odds, particularly here, is very poor indeed. That's where you get involved at 109, 106. Just hope these are accurate late on and you get a little bit of time for a possibility of a goal. This is what I call a derby style match. Very difficult to unpack. Top two in the league tend to meet each other a lot. Tend to be high profile matches as well. All bluster with the shots off target for Bayer Leverkusen. Just not delivering consistent momentum, are they? Or any shots on target. So I wonder if there's any injury concerns with them today, which is precluding them from being their usual efficient selves. There was a big drift in the market at Bet365 from 1.86 up to about 2.1. So that's obviously telling. Bournemouth and Chelsea, as you know, compelling argument for at least if you can wait until the 60th minute. Bournemouth matches tend to start seeing them score 60th minute onwards, probably in reaction to a substitution or two. Chelsea, no shots on target yet away from home, but they have only, I believe, failed to score in their opening match. Let's just confirm that here. Failed to score only in this match. So it is a good argument for laying that 0-0, isn't it? Second half. Everton and Forest. New manager syndrome for Nottingham Forest could put the cat among the pigeons. It is one of those tactical affairs. Two very defensively stout managers. 2-0 lead is not, well, they must be getting nosebleeds for that, I think. With the new manager element involved, it's well worth a little bit here. And again, just a 50 pence here. Just that kind of waywardness you might get with a new manager involved. That element of the unknown. And particularly jigging it around now at half time. Everton not used to scoring this many goals. How about that for a liability? £4. You're not going to be crying over that, are you? We've got a reasonable argument just for that new manager syndrome, but 0.05. Looks like both goals have been coming from something like corners or long throws, given that 0.12 expected goals. So that would be a decent lay for me. Speculatively, of course. Pre-match, just a touch of evens, but notably, Everton are collecting clean sheet wins. Port Vale taking the lead against Bristol Rovers, odds on favourites. So again, just have a quick look. How many of these are 0-0 at half time? We can get rid of these two. Likely to have done the number already. Odds on Bristol City against Millwall. We've already looked at that one in the Championship. The only odds on, really. Swans are doing a good job against Oxford United. Cheltenham have conceded again against Buxton. The last time they conceded first, they did equalise quickly. Exeter and Wycombe, we've got odds on favourite Wycombe. We can have a look at these FA Cup matches. You never know. if they're really, really solid recoveries, then. But look at this, absolutely dead in the water momentum, isn't it? Boom, nothing going on. Maybe there's a stats feed issue, I suspect, there. Alaves and Sociedad, 2.7 the favourite, so not going to be fixated too much on that one. Fleetwood and Luton, 1.96. Stockport County and Cambridge, half time. Nothing really compelling there. Odds on favourites delivering, are they? Swindon and Bolton. I think we're looking at that one already, aren't we? Down here somewhere. Swindon and Bolton, very, very quiet. Big leap in momentum for Bolton, but it's not one. These cup matches are hit and miss. Nantes and Lens has kicked off, one of our odds-on favourites, and I think one of the bankers of the day, Lens. So let's just hope that Nantes read the script and get us a goal. That would be very nice indeed. One of these matches I would have highlighted throughout the day to look at, definitely. Regardless of all of this other stuff. We're very speculative today, but this would have been a strong strong candidate for sure. So we'll see whether Lens are going to perform like market leaders today. We don't need Olympiacos anymore. And PSV, well, Heerenveen, I'll just show you. They're one of those maverick teams as well. Got a goal or two in them. Let's have one goal for Everton was an own goal, says Mango Catcher. So that will explain why that 2-0 is very unexpected, and it will also give you a little bit more confidence in laying Everton. So thank you very much, Mango Catcher. That could be a really useful bit of information there. Heerenveen, 3 goals against AZ Alkmaar. There's St. Troy, Ireland's new patron saint, after getting them through to the playoffs with that hat-trick. The mighty Troy Parrott. Watching that with my Irish mum. Fantastic match. 3 goals against NAC Breda. 2 goals against Excelsior. 3 goals against NEC Nijmegen, who are pretty good. And there's a mighty Ringo Meerveld. I love a bit of Ringo Meerveld, me. Not as good as Heracles Jizz Hornkamp, of course. He comes late into the box. Other dad jokes will be coming soon. Another 2 goals against Go Ahead Eagles, who have been involved in Europe. So you get the idea with Heerenveen. They are a bit of a mischievous side. Don't keep clean sheets. But PSV, only against the big boys, really, are they conceding heavily. NEC Nijmegen have been having an excellent season. We've got that maverick element here. 6 goals in the last 2. It's all dependent. Again, another speculative play. But that's what we're faced with today, rather than, as we had last Saturday, all of those odds-on favourites conceding first and delivering. We're not seeing that today, are we? I wish I could get rid of this. It's normally comes up when you've done too much of these. So hopefully I can get rid of that at some point. So let's have a look through. And guess what we've got here? Look at that. Did we get taken? Did we get taken? Dinamo Zagreb. This could be Dave Persik's day again. Let's see. Did we get taken? That's the problem with laying late. 109, 106. I did tell you, I sometimes miss out on these despite calling it right. And I'm surprised that it didn't get to 109, 106. But I wonder if Dave got another one in with Dinamo Zagreb. Did you lay at 1.4 or lower? Because you'd have cleaned up. So gutted. 109, 106. Must have come pretty near to getting one of these two matched. Oh, well worth doing, isn't it? These late speculative plays. Boom, first shot on target, 102 minutes. So how on earth did I not get matched? Oh, I could have done with that, you know. That would be a nice, was it 23 quid in the bag for a £2 steak? I hope one or two of you guys got that lay of Hajduk Split in earlier than I did. Do let me know in the comments if you did. Market getting Bayer Leverkusen absolutely spot on today, quite clearly. Be careful. Hoffenheim priced at 1.67 last week, delivered their usual 3 goals. Leverkusen, very lukewarm odds, and they don't deliver. The market always leaves clues, so be careful with that. Birmingham City goal against the Saints. Didn't get round to that. 90th plus minute. How on earth did I not get that profit? Oh, let me know if you did, eh? Let me know if you managed to get on Hajduk Split lay and managed to make a profit out of that, because that would have really been an excellent addition to that Arsenal profit. That late lay of Hajduk Split. Derby style match. Only shot on target since the second half. Whole raft of shots off target. Well worth that lay, wasn't it? I will be signing in gutted from Guernsey. I could have done with that profit. Oh man. I'll take this off the watch list now. Augsburg and Bayer Leverkusen. You see that Dinamo Zagreb profit? That would have hoovered up all of those liabilities. David Persick didn't get that one, alas. What a pity. Didn't follow up on that one, Dave. You see we're on the right track, aren't we? But I'm just too greedy. Airdrie have scored first against odds-on Ross County, who have conceded, who have been relegated from the SPL. So we might see something there. Exeter and Wycombe, odds-on favourite, but we're not getting any stats, so we can't really read that match. Bournemouth and Chelsea, you're seeing, well, we've got some 0-3 for Bayern Munich. That's job done. 2+ goals have been scoring in every single match this season. I really hope one or two of you got on that lay of the draw, Köln and St. Pauli. If you just looked, as I did, at half-time, compelling argument for at least a goal, wasn't it? More goals from an odds-on favourite match. Swindon 2-0 up, doing what we expect. Or are they? 2-0 up against Bolton. Oh, Peter Kay will not be happy with this one. 2-0 up against Bolton. Not doing it. And you can see Coventry not priced to win today. We have cleaned up in the last 2 or 3 Coventry matches where they've conceded first. Absolutely cleaned up. 1-2 West Brom lead. Coventry 3-2 win. Played that one, didn't we? Coventry Middlesbrough, we even played the 2-2. I got you the 2-2, and then we got involved and got the Coventry win. Coventry and Charlton, again, Coventry concede first at odds on, 2-1 by half time. Today, not odds on, 3.5. And you saw with Leverkusen, the market getting it right, isn't it? You can't discount Frank Lampard's side yet, particularly with Ipswich failing to score that second goal in the last 2 matches and scoring and conceding against teams far worse than Coventry. But they have home advantage today, so we will see. We want to see a bit of brown momentum. We've got a lot of blue momentum here, upwards trajectory as well, which is not what you want to see if you want to take on Ipswich. But do please respect the market. Not priced to win today, so do not be piling in to the Blues today. Southampton making it 3-1. This new manager is making them tick. They must be delighted with him. Bournemouth and Chelsea still not laid the draw just yet. You're getting an overreaction from Bournemouth to a whole raft of conceding 3 goals here to Sunderland. 2 goals against West Ham, 4 goals against Aston Villa, 3 goals against Man City. Suddenly, you can see that 0-0 against Everton, 78th minute goal for Everton. An overreaction defensively. You see that a lot with teams that have been tonked. Bristol City and Millwall have seen a goal second half. Odds on favourite matches do tend to see those goals come in eventually, but it's gone to Millwall against Bristol City. So we'll keep an eye. If I can get rid of this, there we go. Good. Not really much going on, is there? But a sudden rise in momentum all of a sudden. Not going to be one on the watch list to take on Millwall in the Championship unless I get more of a compelling argument there. Got a red card somewhere, have we? Still got a red card, so they've got a little bit frustrated with getting tonked, and it's sayonara to them. I won't be playing, and as you can see, glad we didn't take it on. A sudden surge of 2 goals. So obviously better at home than they are away, because away from home they've been awful and they've been odds on. 2-goal lead. I wonder if Coventry are going to start fighting now. We will see. So your lesson from today really is to respect the market, particularly when it prices up. It's very, very well. Teams you respect, like Bayer Leverkusen and Coventry, when they're not priced as you expect them to be. And Cheltenham are back with a 2-2 against Buxton. So it's the second consecutive time that Cheltenham have come from behind there. I don't know what's happened with this. Hopefully it will disappear. Let's just have a walk through. Bournemouth, I haven't laid the draw just yet. Let's just have a look at the shots on target. One of them second half. Nothing from Chelsea. When you're laying the draw, I know they've only failed to score in their opening match of the season. As Michael Thatcher, maybe we need to try and determine the amount of extra time before laying late. Zagreb game, it was 1.3 for ages. Yeah, that's also to do with the lack of liquidity as well, Michael. You're quite right. You're quite right. Because it looked like a long bit of Fergie time in that match. It's a real pity that calling it right but not profiting. But that was on me. That was my particular choice. You can, if you like laying at 1.4 or lower, by all means do so if the liability's okay for you on that one. Just waiting to see some increase in momentum here. I would be trying to get to the 60th minute if we can. Trying to get to that 60th minute where Bournemouth start coming alive with their shots. Everton 2-0 up, could be layable, and indeed I have laid. Just based on the potential for the new manager syndrome to create some bedlam, as you saw against Liverpool FC. The Salzburg odds-on favourite scoring against Blau-Weiß Linz. So that's the reason I've laid Everton. Although Everton wins tend to come with clean sheets under David Moyes of late. Tottenham Hotspur have been just so awful in what is a speculative day, which is why that Dinamo Zagreb was more important, because that would have hoovered up these liabilities, albeit very short liabilities. Again, just the fact that Tottenham have just been awful this season. Absolutely awful. So just maybe a little bit less than I would ordinarily. And again, this is one you can just ignore. £50 back at 75s. It's not going to do your bank any harm at all, is it? And we hope that the fact that it's a London derby and the fact that Tottenham very rarely score that second goal, whether we can see some action here. You can ignore that match now completely. If it ends 2-0 or even more to Tottenham, your bank is not going to collapse, is it? Let's be honest. But it looks like Brentford haven't turned up first half, or Thomas Frank, knowing his job is potentially on the line, is doing a number on them today. Did that Ipswich second goal stand? Because it's not showing up. Indeed, it's not showing up here yet. So I'll just do a quick refresh. Indeed, as Nick Wharton just says, looks like the in-play guru has gone down. The feed is not updating for him, and you were spot on. I've just spotted that myself. So we'll have to go old school. Yeah, this is be a third-party issue. So it's a pity. The only other way, total corner, is a patch up, but you're not getting your shots on and off target here, are you? That's the problem with total corner. Today's list. So you've got just the dangerous attacks. You don't really have your shots on target, shots off target. So on that basis, it's not the greatest bit of kit on the planet. But it does keep you updated with the scores as they come in. Lots of whistles as well. The only other options you have is to go to somewhere like William Hill and look on a match by match basis. So we can have a look like that. Put the odds format into what you would see on Betfair. I'm getting far too many whistles here. And we've got a St. Pauli late equaliser. Wow, can they pull off their first win of the season? That would be quite something for them. Priced to be competitive today. But our only real angle in here was to lay that draw. So obviously Nick's having the same problem as me, so it's not a connection issue as far as the internet's concerned. But amazing stuff there. And the Desmond has ended. So we'll have to keep an eye on our odds-ons as well. That could be a patch-up. Because it's very difficult to trade without an in-play stats feed. You've got in-play stats here at Soccer 24. Union Berlin missed a late penalty, says Michael. Would that have really affected us? Let's have a look. I think I've got rid of the Union Berlin match already. And Heidenheim have nicked it from Freiburg. Odds-on favourite Freiburg. Didn't have any great interest in that one. But let's have a look at Köln and St. Pauli, because St. Pauli definitely could do with a win. Don't forget, these two are both newly promoted. They would have been targeting 3 points. And looks like the match has ended there. So that's, yeah, just ended 1-1 there. St. Pauli will be delighted with that result. Absolutely delighted. Getting something to end that losing sequence. Well, we'll have to say goodbye to Bayer Leverkusen. And again, I reiterate, when the market is a little bit suspiciously strange with its odds, it might have a compelling reason. Because on paper, you'd be all over Bayer Leverkusen. But something is up. Something was up. So we're going to have to go old school. Keep an eye on the score lines as they come in. And then investigate. We've got our odds on favourite list, thankfully. So that could be something to work off. You can see Hartberg against Las Linz. So just check out the XGs here, for instance. Check out the goal type. And then we go stats. 0.65 expected goals for Hartberg. 0.21 so far for Las Linz, who are the favourites. So nothing much going on. You see the major disadvantage we have. These aren't getting updated frequently enough. So we have to go back and do it manually. That's why an in-play stats feed is really a must-have. In whatever one you get, there is soccerscanner.net, which I think uses a different feed. So with soccerscanner.net, you do have the opportunity to, I hope, keep the feed alive, because it uses a different one to the in-play guru. William Hill, you can check out your in-play football. any match, Bournemouth and Chelsea, for example, give it a click and you'll get a different kind of in-play stats. It's different from what I've been used to. 4 shots on target each, touches in the opposition box. Expected goals, this is a new stat as well. So William Hill have improved their in-play stats feed. Momentum. So the momentum is swinging or is more in Bournemouth's favour. Expected goals 1.34 for Bournemouth. This is live, by the way, 0.59 for Chelsea. So I've always liked William Hill stats. 12 shots to 8, 4 shots on target each. But what they used to have was a breakdown of first half to second half, which I would prefer here. Clearances, 12 to 16 saves, 4 each. So the summary is probably where we should look at. Problem, you see, this compared to having an in-play stats feed, you're going to have to go back, get another match in, look at that, come back, another page, look at that, come back. Where here, it's all on the one page. Total corner, it's all on the one page as well. So work our way down here. You see the shots on and off target aren't here. You have to look into the stats. And you don't want to be looking into stats. You want everything to be on one page. So this is why in-play stats are so important, aren't they? Man City, usual 2+ goals. I've laid Tottenham speculatively based on the London element. Waiting for Bournemouth and Chelsea. Now we're a little blind. So we'll have to wait a little to see when. Well, I said 60th plus minute. We're on the 67th minute. This is when you're likely to see substitutions from Bournemouth. That could be an indicator when to start laying the draw if you wanted to. And we just had the one substitution, and it looks like a necessary substitution. Senesi off. So getting going 60th plus minute normally Bournemouth. So you can see how severely impacted we are by not having an in-play stats feed. 1.34, but second half is where it's at, and you can see wouldn't be laying a draw just yet with that lack of solid chances on target. 4 of them second half for Chelsea, who, don't forget, have failed to score in only one match this season. What you're seeing from Bournemouth is what you saw last match against Everton, an overreaction defensively to conceding a whole shed load of goals. So I'll see if I can work my way through until 4:45. But if we don't have an in-play stats feed later on, I can't provide you with a proper service later on either. So we've still got that 0-0. Well, we've just seen 0.3, was it? Expected goals second half for Bournemouth. Chelsea 4 shots second half. I've laid Everton speculatively, just in case that new manager element plays with the scoreline. 3 or 4 quid liability, or even less than that, not going to harm you at all. Newcastle and Sunderland, Newcastle and Manchester City, exactly what we expected on paper. London derby for Tottenham, who are not used to the 2-goal lead. 2.5 the favourite again. You're expecting unexpected scorelines with those kind of odds, aren't you? So it's not a very good trading vehicle. Working our way down to the other odds on favourites. We're going to the My Games here. See if there's anything of interest. Nothing much to catch the eye at the moment. Bristol City, again, if we had an in-play stats feed, we would be checking up Bristol City. So let's see. Go to see how fiddly this becomes now. You're going to have to look for the Bristol City match and then check out the in-play stats, see whether they're performing. We don't have second half stats, so we don't have a breakup of those. So it's very, very difficult, isn't it? Loading the pitch, don't really need that. This is following the match. 1.08 for Bristol City, creating enough good chances to score at least a goal. 0.68, and Millwall have delivered on their expected goals. But you can see how handicapped we are now. Can't really work with this, can we? A rise in momentum for Bristol City. But what is the time of those shots on target? We're not seeing them, are we? The last time we had these kind of stats from William Hill, they did allow you to hover your mouse over it and look at the goal times. So this is the new set of stats, and they're just we can't get anything out of it, can we? So we'll just see if I can work my way through, and I'll call it a day at 4:45. So this is what happens when you lose your in-play stats feed. There is soccerscanner.net as an alternative. But when In-Play Guru loses its feed, the likes of Betfair will lose its feed and all the rest. You've got a 2-day free trial for soccerscanner.net if you want to take it up, but they do ask for your card, so you'll have to make sure you cancel. This could be a quick and effective workaround if you lose your in-play stats feed. Soccerscanner.net. Normally we have Enoch watching and he has the Soccer Scanner. Just wondering for him whether it's working today. So we'll keep going until the 4:45s. Got a goal back for Laskvin. So again, that 2-0 lead is a good entry point, but I can't see the stats from Hartberg. And moving our way down, again, we're a little bit blind, but to Ipswich and Coventry 2-0. I'd like to see Coventry stats to see, because we know they've got goals in them, don't they? So we move on down. Can you imagine trading football without an in-play stats feed day in and day out? How difficult it is. 7 shots, 3 shots on target only from Coventry. Again, that is awful, isn't it? Ipswich obviously have trouble away from home. Harry Kane is on the bench, or Kane on the bench, says Stephen. Nothing much doing, Ipswich and Coventry. And again, momentum might give you an idea. They've been kept on a short leash today, haven't they? Again, like Leverkusen, the market getting it spot on. That was my banker of the day, Lens. They've got the opening goal against Nantes, which is absolutely no surprise. I would be laying the bleep out of Nantes all day long. That's one of your strongest plays if Nantes scored first today. So we'll keep an eye. Again, Heerenveen PSV, I would like to see Heerenveen's reaction to going 2 goals down. We can get rid of Cheltenham now. If you followed the market implicitly, you'd have had 2 opportunities to trade that particular match in the cup. There we go. That's that Cheltenham goal. And looks like Swindon, Bolton aren't up for the cup today. It's a 3-goal deficit with 15 minutes to go for the odds-on favourite Bolton. But obviously not up for the cup. And I would like to look at Stockport, for example, as well, to see whether there's momentum coming into the last 20 minutes of this match. But we are a little blind, I'm afraid. But we're avoiding big liability losses today, thankfully. And had we got on that Dinamo Zagreb properly, that would have been an excellent match to look at. Well, given the fact that these were 1.6 pre-match, Willemsvee and Dordrecht, is that draw vulnerable second half? Again, can we have a look at it here? Do they cover the league? Let's have a look. Eerste Divisie, probably not, I would say. We've got the Eredivisie, but not the Eredivisie. So the only alternative you have is to open this up. Look at the XGs for the first half. Were they going hammer and tongs at each other? Well, that answers that, doesn't it? Willems Vee not offering us anything to suggest they'll get a goal first half. Only the 3 shots on target for Dordrecht second half, 0.57. A little bit better, creating enough quality chances to hint at a single goal. But second half, what we can do is look at the conversion rates here without in-play stats. We'll have to revert to trusting form rather than what's actually happening in play, which is what we would prefer to be doing. So let's hope this connects soon, because then I can give you some plays for this evening. Let's go back. There's other ways to get into this. So you go up to matches, move down to Willems Vee, and see if this is a workaround, which indeed it is. So excellent. What we're looking at is the conversion rate of 0-0s, half-time and full-time, in a league known for goals and in a match with a sub 1.6 over 2.5 goals. Boom. Bit like Bournemouth, you've got a big spike at a certain period of time. Big spike here for Willems Vee at home. So 60th minute onwards might be something to look at. Chelsea have 1 substitute on. Bournemouth have thrown 2 subs on, says Mango Catcher. That could be the catalyst for change in that Bournemouth-Chelsea match. It was the 78th minute when Jack Grealish got his goal against Bournemouth in the last match. Don't forget, Chelsea have scored in all bar their opening match of the season. So this will set itself up nicely for another late lay of the draw. Don't forget, we have not since December seen any 0-0s full time in a Premier League match. So Willems Vee, second half, well, not much going. Give them a chance, to be honest. But I'll keep an eye on that one. And that could be something for the second half. Lens, top of the league. A lay of the draw. We've got a suspended market. I wonder if it's any of our matches of interest. Is there a goal in the Bournemouth match? Do we have a goal for Nottingham Forest? Oh, it's 3-0 to Spuds. So that speculative lay of Brentford didn't come in. But what was it? £2.50, £3. So it's not going to be harming the profits from the match at Arsenal earlier on. We can clean up a few of these. Southampton 3, Birmingham, Swansea 2-0 up. Get rid of a few of these. And Ross County have a goal back from 0-2 down. I wonder if they can pull that one off, but we're just missing a look at these teams, aren't we? So in-play stats, vitally important. This is a rarity, really. Give In-Play Guru its due. They do tend to be pretty much on the button. I'm with it 7 days a week, and the amount of times I have it up and it delivering, it is a superb bit of kit and usually reliable. So this is outside it's got a match. Here we go. So right, let's do a little bit of a catch up now. Good stuff. Let's have a bit of a catch up. Now you can see our life is made a whole lot easier all of a sudden. So let's just have a bit of a catch up as we enter in the last 5 minutes. Can we get any of these sides late on? We don't need to be hearing from Hibs anymore. Comprehensive from then. I was looking for a 0-3 for Aberdeen before getting involved there, but it looks like Dundee have got a goal back. Motherwell Comprehensive 2-0. St Mirren 2-0 as well. But they did concede 3 against Aberdeen. Might be some fun in that one. So let's do a quick catch up. Now we've got the stats feed back. Swindon against Bolton. Bolton obviously not up for the cup. Are we seeing any recent action? Just the one shot on target last 5 minutes in Bournemouth's favour. We're in that period where we start seeing goals in Bournemouth matches if they are going to score. But this, for me, I fear, is a huge reaction to conceding so heavily, so consistently. Huge reaction against Everton as well, where they shut up shop, but Jack Grealish found a way through. Chelsea only failing to score opening match. That, I think, is going to be a draw worth laying at short odds late on. St Johnstone will be a little disappointed if they can't cross the line with that 1.55 home favouritism. If, indeed, these stats are accurate. Do we have any second half stats? Well, we don't have any there at all. So, looks like it's been a no-show from St Johnstone. Nottingham Forest. I've kept it to 2-0, but that's what you get from a David Moyes win with Everton. 2-0. And indeed, 3-0. So that look for that new manager to bring some surprise to the Everton scoreline didn't come off. But again, we're laying at low odds. It's a speculative day today because we're not getting the favourites conceding first. I don't think we've seen Spurs have been VAR'd. Chelsea 1 sub on. Everton 3-0. Indeed, says Stuart. So we're not getting odds-on favourites losing today and fighting back. The favourites we normally rely on, Coventry by Leverkusen, priced not to perform today, and the market getting them spot on. Tottenham, I think, have they made it 3-0? Well, Everton have made it 3-0, so we can ignore that. Superb performance from them today. Another clean sheet, potentially clean sheet win. It's going to be too late, I think, for Coventry, but Ipswich, very, very late goal in the last match. Don't think Coventry have 2 in the bag at all. Bristol City 1.06 expected goals at odds on. 2 shots on 8 off, but again, these aren't as compelling as we've had last Saturday with, for example, Coventry last Saturday delivering for us. Brentford and who was it? Burnley last Saturday delivering for us brilliantly. That was 11v11. Heerenveen, again, another one of those sides. It's a speculative day if we can get anywhere near 1.06 for PSV. I've shown you Heerenveen 2 goals here, 3 goals there. And again, speculative Saturday. Just if we can get that goal from Heerenveen, keep that liability low enough. And at 50s, all you need, even 50p. And you can just keep that very, very low indeed, because PSV are vying for the title. But Heerenveen at home, 3 goals against AZ Alkmaar, and 3 goals prior to that, 3 goals against NEC Nijmegen. Well worth a punt. Yeah, nothing doing for us as we enter the exits. Still nothing Bournemouth and Chelsea. Don't forget, Chelsea have scored in all, bar their opening match of the season. We had that stat with Ipswich last week, which I didn't follow through, and they got a very, very late winner. The draw odds were the same as Dinamo Zagreb's were earlier on when I mentioned them. So I'll be waiting a little bit longer. You could, if you wanted, just start choosing one of these 2 sides and start drip backing with 50p. Build up a position slowly. As the odds go up, you can start building your position slowly, ever so slowly. And at least you'll get something if Chelsea do score their goal, which they normally score. odds on favourite match. Well, Cercle Brugge have a goal back. Well, that's come far too late. So it was well worth avoiding that 0-2 because you'd be in no man's land from laying at 0-2 to an 82nd minute 1-2 because you're not expecting to get that 2-2. So a difficult day today. Wait for St Johnstone as well, but the last shot on target was the first half, so absolutely nothing of interest there at the moment. Ross County did get a late 1-2. Do they have any fight in them? Well, we're catching up with the momentum, which is a bit of a negative there. Get rid of the Tottenham match, and we've done the right thing in avoiding Coventry today. They have paid more than amply paid for us in the last 3 weeks. Been absolutely brilliant. Alaves and Sociedad 2.7 the favourite. It's not a match you want to be entertaining. Can't read that one at all. 1.06 for Bristol, scoring enough or creating enough chances, but 2 shots on target, 66th minute for the last one. I think Millwall might be surviving that one. So I'll be keeping an eye on some of the matches a bit later on today. Now we've got an in-play stats feed. In days like this, I tend to see the evening. If we've got some interesting evening matches, it tends to start delivering where the 3 o'clocks and 2:30s didn't. So just working our way down through a few of these, and I'll call it a day soon. And then I will be following a few matches later on for you. But I'm happy with how it's gone. We've got that Arsenal profit, which we've been using for our lays. And if you did get on DZ, Dinamo Zagreb earlier on, that would have been the cherry on top. But I'm afraid I'm a little bit too greedy, and I went for 1.09, 1.06. Calling it right, but not profiting. Real pity there. Serie A, we've got Inter Milan and Como, which would be one I will be following. Tricky one for Inter Milan. You could lay over 0.5 goals in this one because Como have had a couple of 0-0s away from home, only been beaten by our old pals Bologna, and even then Bologna failed to score that second goal against them. That is like the Lens match, another one of them I would be ring fencing to certainly follow a bit later on. Just got a good vibe about it. I like Cesc Fabregas as a manager. He's done an excellent job at Como. Let's have a look at French League. We'll keep an eye on that. You can see quite clearly it's one-way traffic in favour of Lens. And I wonder if that Nantes goal was an aberration, a penalty, or something like that, because surely with that in-play stats suggesting they are performing like 1.675. And there we go. It's well, we could have had some fun here. It was a penalty for Nantes. And Stuart Hutchins has just confirmed that Nantes 1-1. Penalty for Nantes. So, yes, I am thinking Lens could do a number second half. So that draw, vulnerable second half. El Arabi following up, obviously. Maybe a goalkeeper save, and he's just followed up. So that's the only reason that Nantes are drawing against the league leaders, Lens. And look at this. Good stuff. That draw at those odds. Very, very vulnerable second half, I would suspect. It would be a bit of a stretch for me to think that 16th in the league will be taking points off Lens today, particularly with their sole goal coming via a penalty. So these are the kind of quality matches that stand out in a day like this, where it's been a very speculative day. And talking of speculative, let's take a look at any chance for late goals, Bournemouth and Chelsea. Don't forget, Chelsea have only failed to score in that opening match of the season. But this is a wounded Bournemouth. You see this a lot in trading. Teams who've taken a pasting suddenly being over defensive. 3, 4, 2, 3. Suddenly, boom. It takes a 78th minute goal to break them. Suddenly, here, it's 0-0, 80th plus minute. Well, 91st minute. But you'd be laying that late draw on this basis. That's the only match that Chelsea have failed to score in. Any late plays? Well, 70. Where was their goal? 50th minute, 88th minute, Enzo Fernandez. 34th minute, 84th minute. So they do have some 80th plus minute goals, but we are getting to that stage now. And you can do another 50p here, look, on both of these two. Add it up, keep your liability low. You could even start 109, 106, 23. We're just playing on the hope that Chelsea continue the goal scoring record. But we are expecting a 0-0 because of that absolute bedlam defensively from Bournemouth, which they've obviously overreacted to. The manager's just said, I can't put up with this anymore. You're conceding 2+ goals far too often. So tighten the ship against Everton, tighten the ship against Chelsea. Lasted a lot longer against Chelsea, haven't they? Now we're getting to that stage. Late goal, Premier League. Well, we are there now. That's how I wish the Dinamo Zagreb match had looked. We got on and then a goal arrived. But we know our liability loss is going to be something like £4, £4.50. So if you're willing to take that in the hope of a late winner, as you might see with St Johnstone, but we might be running out of time here with St Johnstone. 92nd minute shot on target. Their only shot on target since the first half, 92nd minute. 2 shots off target as well. But we're just waiting to see whether Chelsea can score. I would recommend a lay the draw second half, Lens and Nantes as well. Nantes just look far too superior and conceding a penalty. That's fine. It's not an unexpected equaliser. It is an unexpected equaliser, but we know the reason for it. It's the penalty, isn't it? So if it ends 0-0, Bournemouth and Chelsea, you'll know the reason why. Getting tonked recently. Manager absolutely fed up with getting tonked. So I will be seeing you for matches like the Inter Milan match and any other quality matches which come up. Liverpool and Leeds is a bit of a toughie. Leeds have been very, very competitive at home. 1-2, 2-1 and a 3-1 win against Chelsea. We could get a trade out of that. Certainly a bit like Chelsea. Liverpool do seem to score even when they're in a whole heap of bother. So we could have some action out of that late on. So I think I'll be wrapping this up once the match ends. The Chelsea match confirmed either 0-0 or a goal scored from somebody. Just have a look at the matches up and coming on Football 24. And there we go. Ipswich, Coventry, yet again. The market getting it right like they did with Leverkusen. We've had a suspended market. That's the full-time whistle, Bournemouth and Chelsea. So I feel a bit robbed there, to be honest. When you get 109, 106, you're expecting a little bit longer. I'll say goodbye to you now. Sorry, it's a bit spoilt by the in-play stats. And very contrasting to last week where the odds-on favourites conceded first and really delivered. What have we got coming up? Inter Milan, Como, absolutely stand out for me. I'll be following that. Union Gilwa, our Champions League side, certainly going to be following Leeds and Liverpool. Leipzig, 100% wins at home, scoring 2 goals, a bit like Manchester City, a bit like Newcastle. Can Frankfurt get on the score sheet? They've not had a defeat since the 4th of October. So, competitive match. Are Ajax any good with a new manager? Barcelona and Betis priced for goals today. So we've got some hope. Heracles with the mighty Jizz Hornkamp. Later on, Feyenoord should be full of goals at 8 o'clock. Atletico Madrid away from home, a bit dodgier. Paris Saint-Germain priced for goals as well. And Braga. So something for us to hope for in what has been a tough old Saturday. Thanks very much for coming along. I will see members on Telegram for the next hour or two, or whenever there is a strong trade. And I would recommend, as I'm going to be doing myself as the second half begins, it's half time at the moment. Lens should be able to get a win against a Nantes who've only scored via a penalty. Have a great rest of your Saturday. There might be some disruption next week because my mum is going in for a hip operation, and at 85 years old she needs all of our support. So you'll excuse me if I'm at the hospital next Saturday and Sunday instead of doing a live stream. But that's one of the problems coming back to visit the family, isn't it? Not really a problem, but you understand. Have a great day, and I'll see you all, or members I'll see on Telegram a little bit later on. Don't forget, Lens look good for a potential winner second half.